Hey guys, Such Sports here back with another video. And this time we're going to be doing our week two survivor picks. So we're going to be discussing the potential matchups that you could select in week two. And I'm going to make my official week two pick. As you can see, I chose the Ravens here, but we're going to go through each matchup and see why I would take this pick for this Survivor this week. First Survivor leagues, I took Denver last week and they were able to squeak out a win, I believe 8 points against the Titans. It was a little bit close, too close for comfort, but Denver did get the job done. And so for week two, there's a lot of options here. um, I'm not going to go ahead and take the Packers and Commanders game. I'm not going to touch that game just because it's 250-50. And with Rams Titans, I was considering this game as well, with Cam Ward only being his second start. It's very easy that the Rams could win this game just because their defensive line is so good. And they shut down CJ Stroud last week in the Texans offense. The Titans offense line is not the best. They do have some pieces in JC Latham. And they also picked up Dan Moore as well, but I'm not too huge on the Titans. So you could select the Rams, and it's a very popular choice on ESPN's Eliminator Challenge. But I'm gonna fade the Rams for this week just because on the road, and I'm a little more comfortable taking my team, the team that I chose. And I'll give you the reasons for that as to why. But Cincinnati versus Jacksonville, I'm not touching the Bengals off week two right now just because their defense is so bad, and I could easily see Jacksonville pulling off an upset if Trevor Lawrence has a big game. And with the Bengals, despite being at home, they struggled last week against the Browns, and I just don't think taking the Bengals at this spot, and you can use them later when they get hot. So I would think that the Bengals not the best choice here for Survivor leagues. And for my choice here for this week, Ravens Browns, I could definitely see the Browns upsetting the Ravens here. It's very possible. It's a division game. The Ravens could start off slow like they did last year. Started 0-2 last year, I believe, losing to the Raiders and KC as well. But for this game, I'm choosing the Ravens just because I think this year the defense is even better. There's less holes on the team as a whole. And we saw their offense go to work last week. And the only reason why the defense gave 41 points is because Buffalo is insane at offense. The Browns are not a team where they're going to put up 30 points a game. It's Joe Flacco. He's 41 years old. He's making a return to Baltimore. I'm choosing the Ravens for my survivor pick this week. I get the reason why not to choose them, just because it's a division game and anything can happen in division games. But I'm gonna go with Baltimore just because I trust the Ravens to bounce back defensively after their week one performance, where I don't think they were horrible on defense. And that results in the Bills putting up 41 points and a bunch of possessions. So I think the Ravens bounce back, and that's my survivor pick. It does make sense to go a different route because you want to use the Ravens later, but I want to stack as much as I can early because I don't want to get limited in about week two. I think it's best to go with the Ravens and the top teams early for this strategy which I'm doing. So I'm going to go Ravens week two. And Buffalo Jets, I would also not touch this game just because the Jets looked good on offense last week. And while it makes sense to take Buffalo, absolutely. There's 6% of users that are using their pick on the Bills. I wouldn't touch them just because the Jets' offensive line looks solid. Justin Fields could have a big game. I don't trust Buffalo here. I do think they're going to win this game by a considerable margin. I think at least 10 points. But I don't trust the Bills for my survivor pick. I do have them winning this game by more than they're going to cover their spread. But I'm not going to take them for survivor. I'm not touching the Patriots Dolphins game. That's too messy with how Miami and New England are playing. San Francisco and New Orleans, there's too many injury questions for the Niners. I don't think this is a game you want to touch, especially with Purdy having two separate injuries. You have Kittle's out for 4 weeks, and the Saints don't look great, so you really don't want to touch this game. While I do think the Niners are going to win this game, though. Cowboys Giants is another game I considered. The Giants' defensive line is great, and they could pose problems for the Cowboys here, but I don't think I'm going to take them just because the Ravens option I think is better. And while this is a popular survivor pick, I do like Dallas to win this game. I do trust the Ravens against the Browns more than against the Cowboys against the Giants. Lions Bears, same thing. Same thing with the which game are we discussing? The Bills Jets. That game really could swing either way. I'm going to take the Lions to win this game, and I'm going to make my picks later in this week, and I'll discuss each game at length. But between the Lions and the Bears here, I don't trust the Bears offense to get things going really until midway through the season. They're going to catch fire. With the Lions, they're going to start off slow just because they have a new OC. They're integrating new things with a depleted offensive line, losing Frank Ragnow so late. I think it's going to take time. The Lions are going to win this game, I think. They're going to put up points in this game. They're going to bounce back for sure. But I'm not touching this game just because, again, I like the Ravens beat the Browns more than the Lions and the Bears. Steelers, Seahawks. This is the game I considered here. Pittsburgh's defense did perform poorly, but they just added Jabril Peppers, and it looks like he might get playing time this week. But I do trust them against the bad Seahawks. Receiving core where JSN's great, but the rest of the receiving core, Cooper Cup's okay. They're very redundant of each other, and I don't like that matchup against the Steelers. I think Pittsburgh's going to win this game by a touchdown at least, or about 6, 7 points. I'd give Pittsburgh. So I would consider the Steelers here for my survivor pick, but I'm not going to take them just for the fact that Sam Darnold can have a back-to-back game. They could run the ball well and beat them in a close one. I already picked Denver versus Indianapolis, but Denver I would choose for sure. Despite Indianapolis defense looking really good against Miami last week. Arizona, Carolina. It's another game I considered, but I'm not going to touch this game just because it has shootout potential with the Panthers offense not looking great, but they could bounce back with Chuba and Tet. Arizona looked solid last week. Their defense looked pretty good, so I would choose Arizona if I had the option to go with like a second or third preference, but I would not go. I'm not going to go with this game for this week just because the variance of like potential shootout. Bryce Young could absolutely have a bounce back game. I don't think he will have like a monster game, but I think Arizona's defense is going to keep the score down, and Connor and Benson will do their work, and they're going to have a pretty solid outcome there. Eagles Chiefs, obviously not touching this game. I would go with the Eagles here, as I'll talk about that game more in the weekly predictions, but I'm not touching this game. If I had to choose, I'll take the Eagles, but the Chiefs missing Xavier Worthy is going to suck. Their defense did not look great against Herbert. They couldn't generate pressure at all. I'm not going to touch this game. Another game I considered this week, Vikings Falcons. I have the Vikings as heavy favorites in this game. I don't think the Falcons stand a chance in this one. McCarthy looked good enough to replicate what he can do this past last night against Falcons defense, but they don't have a pass rush yet. Yes, they did draft Jalen Walker and JPJ James Pierce Jr. And those two guys are very talented. They're going to get things going soon. I don't think this is the week where the Falcons are going to put up enough stops on defense where they can stop Jefferson, Naylor, Thielen, Hawkinson, Aaron Jones, Jordan Mason. I think the Vikings are going to score a good amount of points like this week. I think this game could be very similar to week one, Vikings Bears. But I just had the Vikings winning this by probably 4 to 7 points. I think Penix, he looked great in week one, by the way, but I don't trust a potential Drake London less Falcons offense against the Vikings, especially where Mooney's still injured. A lot of questions there. Younghoe Kuz, if he's starting again, I don't trust the kicking game at all. I'm going to go Vikings in this game, and I would choose him on a survivor pick. This would be a heavy survivor pick for me, the Vikings in week two. Buccaneers Texans, obviously not choosing that game, and Charger Raiders not going to choose that one as well. Bucks Texans is 250-50 for me. I have the Bucks winning that game, but I don't think there's like a non-zero. There's like a non-zero chance that Stroud has a great game despite the bad O line and they beat Tampa Bay. Tampa could look rough a little bit without Liam Cohen. Josh Rosen still getting things going. I think it could take some time for the Bucks to really catch stride. They kind of started off slow against Atlanta in week one. I think it'll take some time for them. I think they do win that game, but I'm not going to choose them in Survivor. And same thing, Chargers Raiders. I have the Chargers winning this game, but I'm not choosing them just for the sole purpose that it is a closer division game. And Geno looked good last week. I'm not going to touch that one. So for week two, I'm going with the Baltimore Ravens for my Survivor. And looking ahead for week three, I do like Buffalo in week three. I do like Tampa Bay is an option for sure. I do like Washington. That's a potential option as well. I think I'm going to go as a spoiler for next week. Potentially, if I get past this week, I'm going to go Tampa Bay or Green Bay. It's a tough week to go with, but I'm going to choose the Ravens for week two, and we'll see you guys in the next Survivor week next week, where hopefully we advance.